Want the best way to shop online? Click kccars.com. Want thousands of vehicles at the lowest prices? Click kccars.com. For McCarthy's brand new Chevys, Toyotas, Nissans, Hyundais, and certified and quality pre-owned vehicles all in one place. Over 1,400 new cars and trucks and 500 pre-owned all at your fingertips. Click kccars.com for the McCarthy Auto Group with over 2,000 new and pre-owned vehicles from the ease of your computer, tablet, or phone 24/7. Log on today. kccars.com.
He's been kind enough to find a place that's quiet to go and talk to us.
All right, let's bring him on now. The mayor of Green Valley, Mike Todd. How you doing?
Hello.
Hey, Mike.
How you guys doing?
Mayor, thanks for taking the time to joining us here on RacinBoys Radio. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
I guess we probably should have given you a little heads up that we were going to try to get a hold of you, but that's
all right.
You know, we're the RacinBoys, and it came up, and we started talking about it, and we did a little research, come up with your number, and I appreciate you, again, taking the time to talk to us here.
No problem.
Mayor, let's get right into the heart of the matter, what we're trying to talk about. I guess a big turnout on Monday. Was it Monday or Tuesday?
Monday night.
Monday night.
Monday night. First of all, your impressions of the turnout and the passion for the people that are trying to support Green Valley and Valley Speedway.
It's always been, we've had several meetings before, and it's always been, a really good turnout. And that's why, typically we don't let, people speak at workshops, but,
Right.
I knew ahead of time that this was the issue, that there would be a large turnout there, and I know that, the fans are passionate, so I wanted to give everybody a chance Monday night to speak. So I warned, the board ahead of time, and I was going to do that, and so I opened it up and let everybody speak Monday night. So, and I think everyone did a really, a really good job. I mean, everyone was, polite and courteous and, said what they wanted to say, and it came across really well.
Yeah. In the grand scheme of things, do you actually have a number of the group that opposes the racetrack? How many people are we up against here? When I say we, I'm speaking as a racing community. How many people are really up in arms about the racetrack? Can you narrow that down to us?
I don't know. I don't know an exact number. I mean, it hit and misses. I mean, there are several people that we hear from constantly, but, depending on what's going on, we may get, a call or an email from somebody different that, we don't normally hear from, especially during, like last year when Dennis did some of the weekday races, like on Wednesday nights or whatever. We would get, we would get more calls or emails after one of those just because, people, said they had to go to work the next day or whatever, and they were okay with, Friday and Saturday night, but, during the week they thought that was getting a little much. So, I mean, Friday and Saturday night, there's, there's a group that, we hear from there, but, we get a whole, new group of people that will call up and email if there's a race during the week.
Yeah. That was, our thoughts here that, is the track pushing their luck a little too far by having multiple nights a week? And it sounds like the midweek shows is really maybe the biggest issue that maybe they could deal with the people.
I got more about the midweek shows last year when he did that than I mean, the week, I think the Friday and Saturday nights, I think people, are used to those. They expect that. And then, when something's fired up on the Wednesday night, like, whoa, what's going on here? They're going to start lying to do it, all the time or whatever. And I'll just tell people, hey, because typically, I mean, I think everyone he's done during the week has been, like an outside organization that's came in. So, I'll tell them, hey, he's doing a special feature, outside organization came in, and that's when they can come in. So,
the question, and we'll just put the people aside on each side of the fence. But the question that I have and that I get from Dennis is, how did the decibel level come up at 65? How was that number created?
Tell you the truth, we don't really know, because that was, I mean, his conditional use permit was done before I was an alderman or mayor, before Dennis owned the track, before any of our current city staff were there.
I see.
So we're in the process now of trying to contact some of the past city staff and trying to exactly figure out where they got that number. We don't really know.
Do you think that number is fair, Mayor?
I don't think. I mean, if we were doing it today, if there was a racetrack coming in today, I think that they would not use that number. I think they would look at a different number. I think the people involved on the city and the racetrack side who was doing it then probably didn't do their research well enough. And they should have, if they were going to allow the racetrack in, they, probably should have, did more research to see what an actual fair number. And I just talked to Dennis a couple days ago about this. He was asking me what I thought was reasonable. And right now, I told him, I said, Dennis, I don't think the 65 decibels is really reasonable for you. But I go, at the same time, the residents kind of have a reasonable gripe because right now it says 65. So it's kind of like both sides really have a reasonable, complaint right now.
They're only playing.
So that's really what we have to get to the bottom of.
They're only playing by the rule book, is what you're saying, basically.
Yeah.
Right. And are you aware? I know Brian Brown was up there, but are you aware of Knoxville Raceway? I'm sure you heard the whole story that it's a legendary sprint car
track. I've heard of it prior to the other night. I have, I went to high school here in Grand Valley, so I have several guys I went to high school with to race. That I'm friends with on Facebook and stuff, so I see them post things about it, and I'm aware of it. I mean, I've never been there, so I don't know much about it. But I'm just aware of it.
Well, I don't know if you're aware of their decibel level. It's in it is in the middle of town. I mean, if a car flies out of the track, it lands on the main drag of town, and it's a large town. Would you say Knoxville's larger than Grain Valley?
I don't know. It's a population of about 8,000 people.
How many people do you have in Grain Valley?
We're right around 13.
13,000. So 13, it's comparable. But their decibel level, right in the middle of town, and again, houses right across the street, is 104.
Yeah.
So I just think that we need to work out a new number.
Actually, that's one of the tracks we reached out to when we're trying to figure this out. And the problem we run into there is the actual track itself is actually still considered county. It's not actually, is what we've been told, it's not actually annexed by the city of Knoxville, that the actual track itself is still county. So the city of Knoxville don't have any city stuff for it. I guess everything they go off of is county, I guess.
I got you.
Which is a little bit different set of laws than what the cities have to follow.
Right.
Mike Todd is joining us. He's the mayor of Grain Valley. And just to hear you speak, Mayor Todd, that you're there to, at least what I gather, to help Dennis Schrout get through this. You're trying to work with him.
I don't want to shut the track down.
Right.
As far as I know, there's no alderman who wants to shut the track down. I mean, he's got a business here in town, and we're not in the business of shutting businesses down.
Yeah.
We really want to work with them. I mean, I know they bring a lot of business into town, the Casey's and restaurants and other things. And we have other restaurants that are coming online here in town. They're going to be built. So, I mean, they're going to want, they want the business as well. So, I mean, we're not in, we don't want to shut anybody down. At the same time, we want, we have to listen to our residents also. So we're really trying to look for that, that middle ground that that will work.
So kind of take us through what's going to happen over the next weeks, months, in order to get everything solved. Work with Dennis, get everything to where we don't run into this type of a situation every now and then, where it's a more permanent situation that fans and racers don't have to worry about the future of Valley Speedway.
Well, Dennis currently operates under what's called a Conditional Use Permit, which there's a process that we go through to issue those. And right now, according to that permit, he has to follow the 65 decibels and all that. So really, that's the hard issue that, if we're going to make changes, we have to make changes to that Conditional Use Permit. And the board, I feel like the Board of Aldermen, we said this the other night, we've kind of been sound studied to death. We've looked at these numbers over and over. We've tried to come up with solutions. But we actually have two boards, our planning and zoning board, and we have a community development board. And both of those boards, what we're going to do is we're going to present both of those boards with the information with his current permits. And this is, these are larger groups in the Board of Aldermen. I mean, I think there's 9 people on planning and zoning, and then there's about 8 on the community development board. And what it gives us is it gives us more eyeballs looking at it. It gives us more outreach to the community to figure out what we want to do. So we're going to have those 2 boards look at it, have those 2 boards make a recommendation. Planning and zoning will then actually have to vote on it because they have to vote on any conditional use permit, and they'll make a recommendation to the Board of Aldermen, and then that will come to us. and we'll go off of that.
Have you ever done a survey on what kind of economical impact the racetrack has to the community?
We tried last, I don't know if we had issues last year, but we tried either last or year before, and, we talked to, at that time, we talked to the Casey's, and we talked to, some of the other, restaurants in town, and it's hard for us to nail down an exact number as to what, to say, hey, our sales tax increases this much, because of the racetrack. We know it's making an impact because, you go to Casey's on a Friday night or Saturday night, they're going to be busy. I think there's been times they ran out of gas and, other things. So we know it is, but we can't,
can't put a real number to it.
Pinpoint exact numbers of what that is.
Let me ask one more question about the people that have the concern with the racetrack. Are the majority of them on the north side of I-70, or is there people directly around the racetrack, businesses? Because really the area that they are in is more of a business area. Are those folks in that area complaining?
We don't get too many right there from – there was a lady who spoke the other night that lives right there, literally probably – she can see the racetrack from her house.
Yeah.
And she really didn't have anything real negative to say. She said they knew it was there and they're okay with it. We get a lot of, we get a lot of concerns from the north side of town. And like when I was talking about the weekday races, we will get more at what's called like the old Skybar Farms development, which is where I live. If we do a weekday race, I'll hear some, concerns from that area. But our weekly ones that we get are north, and it blows our minds how the sound is traveling up there, because they're actually further away than say what I live. And I can hear it. I can hear it in my house with the windows closed and all. But I've actually went up there and I've set my truck on race nights just to see how loud it is, and it is just as loud up there as where it is anywhere else. And I guess it's just, there's a creek that runs right by the track there that runs up to that neighborhood, and I guess it's following that. Because you would think, they're really about the farthest neighborhood we have away from the track.
Yeah.
So you'd think it would be the quietest, but it's not. It's just as, just as loud there as anywhere else.
Have you done a survey of the highway that runs through your city, and what's that compared to the track noise?
We have some decibel readings on it, and it's up there too. It's not quite as high as what the track is. And again, it kind of depends. A lot of it depends on the weather. The cool nights, and we tend to get, especially with the racetrack, we tend to get more complaints in the spring and in the fall when the leaves are off of the trees than what we do in the summer. So I think last year we did our survey a little early, so I don't think it really probably showed up anywhere. But I-70 itself is, it's running over 65 decibels, a lot of the time also.
We had a caller in hour number one on Sports Radio 810 WHB, and he was talking about how the planes was his biggest concern. And this guy was not really a race fan. He was just listening to 810, a sports fan. He called in and said his biggest concern is the noise from the airplanes more than the racetrack. Has that airport ever had this same problem as what we're seeing with the racetrack?
Not that I'm aware of. I think they've been there so long that, and again, I think that sound is probably more limited to just that neighborhood, and that's an older neighborhood in town. Actually, a couple of years ago, lived in that neighborhood. So, and I think I know the planes and the trains are right there, and that's the sound I always got accustomed to that you don't even notice. So I think that's probably why we don't hear complaints about the trains and the planes.
I got you.
I know all of this.
They're plenty loud too. They have, they used to have they don't anymore, but they used to have like a life flight helicopter over there.
Right.
And that one would, when it would, because it would take off there in the middle of the night sometimes, and that one would make some noise.
Well, and not only that, they can fall out of the sky and land on top of your house.
Yeah, we've had a couple plane crashes over there, unfortunately.
Mark Evinger, the previous owner of Grain Valley, had a plane wreck over there. Mark Evinger. The racetrack. He had a crash over there one time. Yeah, absolutely. Kirk, you were going to ask.
Mike Todd, by the way, joining us, Mayor. We appreciate your time.
No problem.
I know the Valley Speedway was constructed before you were elected as alderman or mayor, but a lot of people would be surprised in this day and age, and even this recent, that a racetrack would be built at all in the middle of a metropolitan area. How do you think that happened?
You would have to ask who was on the board at the time. I'm, not really for sure. I think at that time, our population exploded there during, between 2000 and 2010. We grew almost 150%, which is like the second largest in Missouri. We went from, 5,000 over to almost 13. So my guess is back when the track was built, we were still, a small community and, still really considered probably more rural at that point than suburban. And they probably just didn't really think, a whole lot about it when they, came to the board at that time and wanted to do it. They were trying to get, businesses in here at the time, and probably saw it as a great opportunity, would be my guess.
And I think it's still a great opportunity for the community there, to be honest with you. And I know Dennis is working really hard at trying to abide by those rules. None of us like to go down there and look at those trailers around the racetrack, but he's doing that solely because he's trying to muffle the noise down a little bit.
Yeah, that was one of the recommendations he got a few years back, I think, on one of the sound stations, one of the engineers, was that, those trailers would help the sound.
And you'll have to answer this politically correct, I'm sure.
Right.
You're a politician, so I expect that kind of answer out of this. But do you think that some of the people that have the problem with the racetrack stereotype racing people? I don't want to use the word prejudice towards, but let's be fair. Our sport has had to deal with the stigma that's been attached to it since the days of yesteryear, early years, about it's a hillbilly redneck sport, a bunch of toothless, rebel-rouser, beer-drinking type folk. And I know people think that about it. I work with people in the radio business that think like that. And they're open about how they feel like that. Do you think that some of this could be a tribute to the people's feelings towards motorsports like that?
Well, I would hope not. I've never heard anybody. The only time any of them have ever, had any concerns with me, it's always been about the sound. I've never had anybody, say anything other than, they don't like the sound. So,
okay.
I can't say that they don't, but I don't think they do, and I would definitely hope not.
But how some people, you'd have to be blind to see that some people think that. And my gut tells me, maybe not everybody that's against the racetrack. I'm sure that there's some people that it's a legit noise reason, but I got to feel that there's some people that feel that racetrack devalues their property in the community. Do you feel that?
I think there's, I think we've had people tell us that they feel that the value of their homes has decreased from the sound aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they feel it decreases because of, clientele at track or anything, but
Right.
There are people that feel like it's decreased the value of their homes from the sound.
Yeah. Mayor, before we let you go, I'm going to let you have the last word. I'm hopeful that you understand how passionate and how much this racetrack means to the local racing community outside of your city, the people that travel to your racetrack, and obviously the money that they spend. But also, I want you to know this, and I don't know how often you hear this, but I travel all year round with the Lucas Oil National Sprint Car Tour. And I travel to countries, all states west of the Mississippi. And Grain Valley's racetrack, Valley Speedway, is nationally known. They run a lot of national tours there. They've got the USMTS, the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. They've got the USAC non-wing sprint cars there. This is a track where national drivers come to race and always give the track a rave review when it comes to the action out on the racetrack. I just want to let you know that this is not just a tight little window around your city, that this is even a national story, probably more than you realize.
Yeah, well, we actually got. I didn't personally, but I know one of the aldermen got a call from someone in the state of Washington about it. Earlier this week when we were talking about it, and I got several calls from 2 hours, 3 hours away. You got people who come up to the track, so I know it spreads out more than just the metropolitan area here. But And I just want to say that I appreciate everyone who called me or emailed me to express their views on it. Like I said, everyone was polite about it, and I did. If anyone left me a message, I tried to return all the calls I got. So hopefully I didn't miss them, leave them out. But I did appreciate all that communication.
One final question, and I'll let you go.
Okay.
What would you recommend for the fans that are supportive of that racetrack? What should they do? What would the city like to see, or what should they do to be proactive without being,
I think at this point, we'd gotten some emails, people saying that, they were going to, stop spending their money in Grand Valley while this was going on. I would ask, people not do that, because we are trying to work with them here. So, we don't want to harm any of the other businesses in town while we're trying to get through this. And, as this process goes on and it goes before the Planning and Zoning Board and the, the Community Development Board, those meetings will be public. If they want to show up and show their support, that'd be great. It'll be up to those boards and those people who are head of those boards to decide if they'll let them speak or not. But I think just the show of people coming in the audience and just sitting there and listening, I think is great. So,
and Mayor, you just give me this: do you think the chances are good that we'll be able to work out a deal and keep the racetrack open?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll get something worked out. I don't think there's anybody on the board or myself who want to close the racetrack down. So I think we'll get there. I think it'll take some concessions on both sides. Dennis may have to give up a little bit of something that he doesn't want to give up, but at the same time, I think the residents may have to give up a little bit of what they want also. So we'll have it'll be a compromise, and not everybody will probably be 100% satisfied or happy with it, but hopefully we can get everybody at least over 80% happy.
Mayor, we appreciate your time. You've shed a lot of light on the situation. I think I feel better about what's going on out there after speaking with you. And again, we're sorry to blindside you with the call here on Saturday morning, but we sure appreciate you taking the time.
All right, no problem. Anytime.
All right, thank you.